Australia has a lot of spiders, but recently we found a new one, because of course we fucking did. And the new one is the most certified Australia moment I've ever seen. For a bit of context, one of the several thousand spider species we are home to is the Sydney funnelweb, the deadliest spider on the planet. Because of course it's down here. Where the fuck else did you think you were going to find it? These scary looking fuckers are highly venomous and can flatline you with a bite in 15 minutes. And if you think wearing thick clothes will save you, be aware the bastards have fangs long enough to punch through shoe leather. Now, why do I bring these little nightmares up? What is the one thing worse than a spider rocking armor-piercing rounds that can send you to heaven with same-day delivery? A bigger spider rocking the same perk setup. That's right, Australian scientists have found a brand new species of this funnelweb that is even bigger. How much bigger? Well, the standard Sydney funnelweb grows to around 5 centimetres or 2 inches. And I mean, if you're asking me, 2 inches is more than enough. 2 inches is actually fucking huge. By comparison, this is the new one. It's twice the fucking size, cunt! 4 inches of 8-legged menace to the animal kingdom. But that isn't even the best part. You see, do you know what they named this thing? Do you know what professional scientists named a supersized version of the most dangerous spider on the entire fucking planet? The Newcastle Big Boy. Deadliest spider on the entire fucking globe. Big Boy. Only in Australia. Platypus are weird, but I'm not sure you quite understand just how fucking weird. See, everyone knows the basics. They lay eggs, they sweat milk, and they look like God hit randomizer on the spore creature creator and just called it a day. But you see, mate, that's barely even scratching the surface of weird platypus features. First up, as is the qualifier for any Australian animal, did you know they're venomous? No, I'm not fucking with you, you heard me correctly. Male platypus actually have venomous spurs on their hind legs. These spurs are multi-purpose, acting as defense from predators, as well as a tool for throwing hands with other male platypus during mating season. And while their venom is non-lethal, that doesn't mean that getting stung by them doesn't fucking suck. See, platypus venom can cause extreme pain and swelling, and to ensure you remember not to fuck with them again, these effects can last for several months and have no treatment or anti-venom. So if Perry stabs your shit, your only option is to cry about it. Next on the list of offensive capabilities, I shit you not, platypus share the same hunting method as sharks. You see, that big-ass bill isn't just for show, as it contains enough surveillance equipment to make the CIA blush. Possessing the ability to sense changes in pressure in the water, but most importantly, containing electroreceptors that track electrical signals from muscle contractions made by their prey. Meaning that when whatever they're chasing starts quaking in fear, they know about it. And last but not least, as if those things weren't already unbelievable, we recently discovered something new. Platypus are fucking biofluorescent. They glow. If you hit these things with a black light, they go bright fucking green. And the best part of that is, we have no clue why they do it. I guess it just means Perry was a biblically accurate platypus, man. I'll give up, man. Who fucking designed this thing? This seal is such a menace that he routinely gets the cops called on him. Introducing our protagonist, Neil the Seal, a 600 kilo absolute unit of a southern elephant seal from my home state of Tasmania in the land down under, who is known for, above all else, being an absolute fucking menace to polite society. But despite his crimes, we all still truly love him. But what are his crimes? Well, see, he seems to just fucking hate traffic cones and road safety in general, has regularly been caught trespassing, and then once he has been caught trespassing, belligerently screaming at locals because they won't give him his fucking fish, and has been known to just block roads by plopping his fat ass down directly in the middle of them. However, hands down, the funniest shit he has ever done was just straight stopping this random lady from going to work. I shit you not. This motherfucker crawled out of the ocean, up the beach, crossed the road, absolutely fucking bodied this woman's poor letterbox, and then proceeded to plant himself directly in front of her fucking car. She was then unable to go to work because this half-ton beefcake was camping her driveway for so damn long. Local news had time to drive out to her house and cover the fucking story. Now, this is a lot of menace for a single seal to cause, but the funniest part of this is, old mate isn't even fully grown. He's like 5 years old. If you think he can fuck things up now, wait until he's nearly 2 solid-ass tons of blubber and takes issue with the wall of your house. I do not think that seal damage is covered on my fucking insurance plan, dude. Wombats defend themselves by, throwing it back. But to understand how the fuck they actually do it, you're gonna need to learn a little bit about them first. You see, Australia is home to 3 species of these bad boys, all of them equally adorable, and very importantly, all being burrowers, meaning they dig out a nice little hole for themselves and the family to live in, because, like the rest of us, they can't afford a fucking house in this economy, man. They grow to around 1.3 meters in length, but despite being small, they are built like fucking tanks, weighing in at a chunky ass 35 kilos, but despite their weight, I shit you not, they have a top speed of 40k an hour. Now, the fact that they can nearly get booked in a school zone, coupled with them being a tank-class marsupial, forms the start of their defense strategy. So you see, a fun fact about wombat anatomy is they spect all their defense points into their ass. Rather than having fat and muscle, a wombat's cheeks are made out of 4 thick plates of fused cartilage, making it extremely solid. And this Kevlar BBL allows for the fucking funniest defense mechanism I have ever seen on an animal. Basically, if a predator tracks down Mr. Wombat to his burrow, it'll stick its head in and start trying to dig him out. In response, the wombat will line his ass up with the tunnel door, chuck the gear shifter into reverse, and fucking floor it backwards up the tunnel into his aggressor, slamming his ass into its head. The impact then squashes the predator between his steel cheeks and the roof of the burrow, straight up crushing its skull like a Mortal Kombat fatality. I cannot make this shit up. Stepping on this rock could straight up paralyze you. That's because this isn't actually a rock. That is a stonefish, a species of underwater menace native to Australia. And coming as a surprise to absolutely no one, it is also the most venomous fish in the ocean. Because of course it is. As if the fucking snakes and spiders weren't enough, now I can get packed up by a pet rock. But why is this Pokemon reject such a threat to my mental health? Well, you see, stonefish use their special venom for defense. However, unlike most other animals that do this little f***er doesn't have the decency to dress like a neon sign to warn you. No. This bastard is a 6th prestige prop hunt veteran, having evolved some of the most impressive camouflage in the animal kingdom to make hunting easier. And once they've set themselves up, they are basically indistinguishable from Patrick Starr's house. Now, this is a fairly major problem as they love to live in the shallows on the beach, and that venom we talked about earlier is stored in these 13 giant, highly toxic spines that deliver venom when pressed on. You can probably see where I'm going with this. Considering it's hard enough to spot these things while you're paying attention, if you were, say, on a romantic walk along the beach with one of the homies, and while distracted by his ethereal beauty, weren't paying too much attention to where you were walking, it would be very easy to place your foot in the wrong spot and step directly onto 13 hypodermic needles, which would then deliver a ginormous dose of neurotoxin straight into your system. Oh, you thought it was normal venom? No. You see, these things maxed out the toxin skill tree, producing a mixture of 2 neurotoxins that can flatline you by collapsing your heart and lungs in under an hour. And even if you survive, the sting still causes extreme pain, swelling, and tissue necrosis. Because this is Australia, where even the scenery is trying to one-shot me.
They say that we malfunction. What in the robo Satan are you? A new model? Fancy. Listen, I'm just gonna head over this way, if that's alright with you.
You heard that noise earlier? Sounded like something big moving. Probably another pipe bursting. This place is falling apart. Yeah, well, if something does jump out, you're going first. You're kidding? I'm hiding behind you so fast you think I teleported.
Come on! Don't glitch on me now!
this bird can straight hit you with a Mortal Kombat fatality.
Finish him!
Introducing the cassowary, a species of ratite native to the land down under. And for once, guys, it's not venomous. Can still flatline you though, and I'm going to tell you how. You see, these neon chickens belong to the same family of birds as the emu, and as such share their impressive size, coming in at a solid 79 kilos and growing up to 6 feet tall, meaning the short kings in my audience could, in theory, mount these things like a chocobo. But what makes them stick out from emus? Well, you see, the cassowary is basically a spec ops emu, being twice the weight, highly territorial, and most importantly, coming with a combat knife strapped to their foot. That's right, this is a cassowary claw, and it's the reason they can hit you with a fighting game finisher. You see, these claws are a full 5 inches long. And you know what I mean? Honestly, 5 inches, way too big for anything, and especially for something that's going inside me. And if you anger the tactical assault turkey, that is exactly what you're gonna get, as their go-to defense method is to kick you square in the gut with that kitchen knife and attempt to disembowel you. And I mean, even if the kick doesn't put your insides on the outsides, that kick is still going to send you flying, which can cause some fairly major problems. Problems like the incident that occurred in 2012, where I you not, a cassowary ran up behind a random tourist, hit the heavy attack button, and kicked the guy down a small cliff into the ocean. I mean, luckily he survived, but the fact that I live in a country where at any point I could be hit with a sneak attack by a kaiju turkey is terrifying. Australia lost a war to emus. But how? How the did we lose an armed conflict with flightless birds? Well, it all started in 1932 when farmers in Western Australia wanted to grow wheat. There was just one major problem. That's emu territory, and emus really like wheat. And coming in at 6 foot tall and 40 kilos in weight, they can eat a lot of it. So when breeding season came around, the emus migrated through the farmland, and these poor farmers were overwhelmed by a tyrannid swarm of man-sized poultry, 20,000 emus strong. These feathered tanks then proceeded to completely steamroll through the fences into the fields and started laying waste to the wheat. The farmers attempted to fight back the initial wave with rifle fire, but their efforts were, putting it lightly, completely useless. This ginormous L made the farmers pretty bloody angry, so they gathered together and went to the government to ask for help. Sir, 20,000 emus have hit the wheat fields. Me, mate. And so the government declared the emus enemies of the state and sent in the army to commence the Great Emu War. The entire 7th Heavy Artillery Division was deployed to WA, armed with 2 LMGs, 10,000 rounds, and the sole objective to blast anything with feathers. A little bit excessive for an overgrown turkey if you ask me, and upon their first deployment, the army immediately ran into a major problem. Emus are fast.
I am speed.
Really fast, clocking a top speed of 50 kilometers an hour, which meant that once they opened fire, the emus would immediately bolt out of range of their weapons. But they still took a crack at it, and then immediately stopped when both LMGs jammed after only dropping 12 emus. This embarrassment led the army to retreat and rethink their plan. So a few weeks later they returned, this time mounting the LMGs on trucks in an attempt to run the birds down. However, this also didn't work, because after figuring out that those trucks meant they were about to be turned into a KFC family bucket, the emus started leaving scout birds who would warn the flock of the approaching trucks, which gave them all enough time to book it before the army even got there. And whenever they did catch the emus, they found out they were kind of... Because emus are mostly feathers, and there's a lot of places you can hit on them without doing any damage, meaning it was taking around 10 bullets for every 1 bird. So after a month of blood, sweat, tears, and 10,000 rounds of ammunition, the army managed to bring down 960. The population was 20,000. This was an issue as, unlike America, our defense budget is not a bottomless pit. So the army had wasted all that money to achieve absolutely fuck all. So the government just kind of built a really long, really shit fence around the farms and called it a day. How the fuck did we lose this? I could have done a better job with a boomerang and a cricket bat. Kangaroos can and will beat you up. That's right, just because it's not venomous doesn't mean it can't knock you on your ass, and Australia's most iconic marsupial can do just that. Because they are way bigger than you think they are. with our biggest species of roo coming in at a ridiculous 2.8 meters in length. And with the iconic hop, they've got a vertical jump of 3 meters. I mean, honestly, with a stat spread like that, they don't belong in the outback, they belong on a fucking NBA court. As if that wasn't enough, they're also built like tanks, weighing in at a full 90 kilos of roid-raging rabbit muscle, and being able to move way faster than anything that heavy has any right to, pegging the speedo at a max of 70k an hour. Meaning if you make them angry, a juiced up rat the size of a small car is going to run your ass down and beat the f***ing brakes off you. And I'm not kidding when I say they really will rock your shit, because roos are professional kickboxers, with males routinely fighting MMA to win female attention. When they fight, kangaroos will lean back on their tails as a stabilizer and immediately start scratching and kicking the ever-loving shit out of one another. And those kicks have enough force to crack bone. And as if getting drop-kicked by a muscled marsupial wasn't bad enough, they also for some reason have the same bite force as a grizzly bear, because why not? Now, even with all of this, there are still animals stupid enough to view a roo as lunch, which brings me to the most terrifying thing that they do. When threatened, kangaroos will hop into a body of water and wait for whatever is chasing them to follow them in. Once the predator enters the water, the kangaroo will wrap its arms around their neck and just straight up drown them. What the f***, man? I share a country with psychopathic tren rats.
Oh!
Touching this plant will put you in the hospital.
I'm dying.
This is the Gimpy plant, a piece of foliage native to the land down under. And surprising no one, not only is the thing venomous, it is in fact the most painful plant on the planet. Because yeah, no, of course, man, even the fucking leaves down here have a problem with me. Growing in the rainforests of northern Queensland, these hell bushes are covered in tiny hairs that upon closer inspection aren't hairs at all and are actually thousands of hypodermic needles waiting to stab you and break off inside your skin if you so much as brush them. Once inside you, these needles will inject you with, I am not kidding, neurotoxin and cause absolutely excruciating pain. I mean, like comedic levels of pain. With one person describing it as being covered in hot acid and electrocuted, and another woman saying that it was straight up more painful than childbirth and she'd given birth 4 times. And the f***ed up part is, the neurotoxin isn't even lethal. So this spiteful c*** of a plant is hurting you purely for the love of the game. Mind you, there are reports of people saying getting stung by this thing is actually worse than being put in the ground. This is because Groot's little hellspawn cousin here can continue hurting you for literal years after being stung. This is because those thousands of little hypodermic needles are actually made out of silicon, meaning your body can't break them down. And with how thin they are, your skin will usually close up over the top of them, meaning that these neurotoxin emitting slivers can sit inside your skin for literal years, releasing more neurotoxin anytime that they're moved or disturbed. This constant, chronic, agonizing pain is so unbelievably bad that there have even been records of, trying not to get banned here, people Alt F4ing existence to make it stop. This particular incident came from a man who accidentally used one of the plant leaves as toilet paper. I don't think it gets much worse than neurotoxin to the nuts. This bird has to rearrange its organs and skeleton just to lay an egg. This cute little guy is the Kiwi bird, a species of ratite native to New Zealand this time, and the absolute poster child for getting cucked by evolution. You see, this walking featherball is actually directly related to the emu, ostrich, and cassowary, being a member of the same family of flightless birds. However, there is a problem. You see, the rest of the Kiwi's bloodline actually looked up a build guide before picking their stat spread, and as such made sure to trade the whole flying thing for something useful. With all of his cousins specking into speed, size, and some kind of offensive capability. So that leaves the question, what did the Kiwi pick to make up for not flying? Absolutely f***ing nothing. Kiwis are tiny in comparison to their relatives, coming in at only 4 kilos in weight and 50 centimeters tall. This is because Kiwis evolved largely on an island with no natural predators, so they downsized and traded out the knife feet and bloodlust for just being a little guy with a good attitude, which honestly worked pretty well for them, until the British did British things, and now they have to deal with cats and dogs trying to eat them. And considering this build was not designed for PvP, they have been clapped so hard by invasive species that they are now unfortunately an endangered animal. But getting shafted by the British is just the beginning of the generational violation of the Kiwi, because these poor feathered fruits can't even reproduce without getting f***ed over. You see, the Kiwi bird's cousins are famous for laying huge eggs. I'm talking hit your protein macros in one meal-sized eggs. And you would think that is because they are large. And you would be wrong. Because their vertically challenged cousins have to lay eggs the same size. A Kiwi bird lays eggs 20% the size of their body. With the egg being so bloody large, it rearranges their internal organs and stretches their rib cage just to be able to hold the thing. For reference, that is like a human giving birth to a 15-kilo child. That's not a bun in the oven anymore. That's a whole f***ing bakery.